I would give up TJ Watt to get Malik Willis at this point. I would. I would.
I agree with that part, but the problem is, even with this format, it could work, but like you still have to get the buy-in of more than half the players for it to work. Arteta's afraid of failure, but he's also afraid of success and attractive football at the same time.
I mean, if you win it, how scummy are you guys gonna feel? Like own goals and free kicks the whole way.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back for episode number 94, I believe, on this February 17th, 2026. Another jam-packed episode for you guys. A little bit of NFL, a little bit of NBA, a little bit of everything really on this pod, but I'll go ahead and hand it over to my boy Fezzi to tell you a little bit more of an in-depth preview of what we got coming up.
Yes, sir. We cannot let go of the NFL just yet. Obviously, we're going to dive into the offseason stories when they happen. Obviously, a big one going down this past week. But before I dive into that, would appreciate if you guys would like and subscribe on the video on YouTube, and also go over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow us there, rate us there. It would help us out a ton, and we would appreciate it a lot. Like Sammy Boy said, we got a little NFL offseason news. Tyreek Hill released by the Miami Dolphins. Where should he end up? Who should pick him up? We'll dive into that. Did Adam Silver fix the All-Star game? I enjoyed it, and we'll dive into that a little bit more. The format was kind of cool to watch. Some players cared, some still didn't, but all in all, I think it was a bit of an upgrade. March Madness, a month away. We'll dive into that. And we'll also do our national championship picks as of this moment. Obviously, we have a lot of games that happen. We were like head first in the NFL, so I was watching here and there, but really diving into it this past week. And then we'll finish off with the Premier League title race coming down to the end. Arsenal trying to hold on to that top spot. And we'll dive into the first rounds of the knockout stage in the Champions League. But before we get to that, as we always do, what's new with you, Sammy? Anything fun coming up? Anything fun that you did? I worked this past weekend, so, didn't really enjoy that. My Valentine's Day was semi-ruined. Still got to, get flowers for the wife. Did you You enjoy do anything? And also you said you had something fun coming up this next weekend.
Yeah. Obviously, Valentine's weekend was good. A lot of good sports going on. I was texting you off and on throughout the whole day, and you're like, yeah, I can't watch anything, which kind of sucked.
Nope.
But no, I had a good time,
awful.
watching sports and stuff. Had a little bit of a brunch thing with Joy in the morning, and then she had
Nice.
actually a concert at night.
Okay.
So I went to that. And then we got ice cream afterwards. So nice little V-Day action.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, we had a murder mystery, which I did with our youth group. Had to dress up in a conspicuous security guard costume, which was pretty lit.
Nice.
Game's great. It's the second year in a row we've done it. The kids always love it. It's a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And then this weekend, also with the youth group, we're going up to a place called Look Up Lodge, which is like this really cool like camp and retreat center with a lot of the youth group kids, probably about 50 or 60 of them, spend Friday through Sunday up there, just kind of hanging out, have some sessions, a lot of free time on Saturday. Which it's always a good time. They have all kinds of sports stuff going on, basically everything you can imagine up there. It's like a nice mountainous vibe. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's a really fun weekend. So yeah, it's a little bit of what I did. So, you just worked, huh?
Yeah, I just worked. I mean, Sunday was a little laid back. I usually help a lot with Owen to give Taylor a break during the weekends, but yeah, Saturday worked all day, 10 hours.
No, any date stuff going on, or how'd you treat the wifey? Nothing?
No, I wasn't
Brother.
able to. I know I had this whole plan, and then I ended up having to work Saturday, so I kind of had to, throw some things together. Ended up getting her a ton of flowers, and she's been kind of sick lately too. So like, the different snacks have been hit or miss or whatever. So she already has a ton of chocolate, so couldn't get chocolate for her either. So
she keeps that spot stocked, huh?
Yeah, I just got her a ton of flowers. Kind of went very traditional, old school. But other than that, it was a good weekend. Good. I guess I can't really say it was super refreshing. Sunday was laid back, but other than that, you know, watched a ton of sports when I got home, and I had some on when I was working, but
Any
yeah, that
Olympics? I
murder
know we're not
mystery.
gonna go ahead,
Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say that murder mystery thing sounds lit.
dude.
I love a good murder mystery, especially like if it's a movie. Like the Knives Out like trilogy is
Oh my
super
goodness,
good.
I
Like
love that series.
so
It's so
good,
good.
so good. But
Yeah, even
yeah,
the
that
whole
sounds
way it's
fun.
set up. I mean, there's this year it was like, what was it? Like 8 different tables, so like every suspect is in charge of a table, and
That's
you're like
sweet.
trading cards back and forth. It's basically like Clue, but on steroids and
Okay.
like much bigger,
Nice.
kind of life-size form and everything. And everybody's like dressed up and like our table might accuse like the other table, like Joy's character was Dr. White, or
Really
whatever. So she was like in a
nice.
doctor costume and
Huh.
all the kids are like, oh, you accused blah 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 of whatever, and like all they always get hype, and it's
Yeah,
really fun.
dude. As
It's a
high
good
schoolers
time.
should. As high schoolers should.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. What were you saying before that?
I was just gonna ask if you watched any like Olympics. I know we're not gonna talk about it much on here, but
That's true. Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of the hockey. That's kind of the main thing that I've been watching. I dabble into some snowboarding, but any Olympic watching this past weekend?
Dude, I have been headfirst into the curling, like just watching different
So
matches when I
wild, dude.
can,
So
dude.
random.
I am all in on the curling, man.
It's
I was watching some half pipe
heard
the other
someone cheated.
day. Yeah, I saw that. I think it was the freaking Canadians. Yeah,
Canadians,
about time
man.
we take over your freaking country. 51st state incoming. Let's go. Just cheating in the Olympics. Like, who freaking does that? I thought Canadians were supposed to be nice in all this, but apologies to any Canadians that might be listening, if any, probably not. But yeah, I've been watching the Olympics. I watched a little bit of the who was America play? What was this last recent hockey game? It was America
Germany?
and Germany. I watched some of that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but mostly just curling, some figure skating, some luge.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of luge and like um the I don't think it's called luge, but the bobsled. I watched a little bit of that.
Yeah, I saw
Um
us absolutely embarrass ourselves and not even get everybody into the freaking bobsled. That was like a week ago
I
or something
saw
like that.
that.
That might have been qualifiers or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was like, what are we freaking doing? We
That's my that's
can't
my
even
favorite thing.
can't even get in the freaking bobsled. This is supposed to be our
Oh
top
man.
team, like
Bro,
out of the entire world.
to
This is what we
train
said.
to train for 4 years almost
Oh my
every day
gosh,
just to get to the Olympics and not
so
even get
embarrassing.
your butt into the
They
bobsled.
got to stay in Italy at this point. We aren't even they can't even come back. They can't even come back.
Funny, dude.
But yeah, like Sam said, definitely have dove into the Olympics. Like you gotta. It's every 4 years. You know, they switch on and off, and like when it comes around, it's fun. It's fun to watch. It's fun to just have extra sports going on. During the season, even though there's tons of it going on anyways. But like we said, we got a good episode for you guys, and we're going to get into it right.
Starting off the pod, as Fuzzy Boy said, with a little NFL talk. NFL, the league in general has become really very good at kind of just sprinkling in storylines here and there to keep us talking about the NFL really all off
Indeed.
season, which Stalone and I will happily oblige because we just can't stay away. Biggest news coming out of Miami this week in the Dolphins in one fell swoop releasing Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb, which opens up about $60 million or so in cap space. Miami just embracing the full rebuild at this point. But where do you think both of these big time players are going to end up, and who do you think should snatch them or at least offer something? Obviously, Tyreek Hill coming off a pretty significant leg injury.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased, so I'm just like, dude, pair them up. You got DK on one side and Tyreek on another side, and then have no idea who we're gonna roll out at quarterback. I mean, we're gonna touch on it a little bit. Mock
Rodgers.
drafts. Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, I would like that. I would want Aaron Rodgers, but that's not what we're talking about. I think I kind of ranted about this the other day. But for Tyreek Hill, I don't know. some people say like he should maybe go back to the Chiefs because they like their wide receiver room. There's talent in it, but like they're so immature, like not as good as Tyreek Hill was or is at this point. Obviously, we don't know how he's going to be with the leg injury,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, there's tons of teams that are going to go out there and pay him whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's just that good. He opens up everything else for everybody. Like when you have to account for him going over the top, everything in the middle section of the field is wide open, and then you can just dink and dunk, and then once everyone kind of keys in on the middle part of the field, that's when you get the explosives to Tyreek Hill down the field. And I mean, barring him not coming back to 100% after the leg injury, I mean, he's still one of the fastest players in the NFL, so any team's gonna love to have him if they can get their hands on him.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, everybody's immediate thought about Tyreek Hill once he's getting released is the Chiefs. But honestly, if I was the Chiefs, I probably wouldn't touch Tyreek Hill with a 10-foot pole. Obviously, he's
Gotta get
a
younger.
good player, but he's on the wrong side of 30. He's 31 now.
Mhm.
And he's a player that relies a ton on his explosiveness and his speed. And not
Mhm.
only is he going to start to decline now that he's past 30, but I also think with the leg injury, there's just a huge question mark on where his production is going to be. If you can get him on like a pretty affordable deal or team friendly
Mhm.
deal where it's just, maybe 9-10 million or something like that, nothing super crazy on like a 2 year or something like that. I think that maybe makes sense for them, but otherwise I don't think I'd be as interested in him if I'm the Chiefs. I could see him maybe going to the Bills, but again, with how much he's flirted with the Chiefs the past year and spending so much time with them, I'm not sure if he'd necessarily want to go to their quote unquote rivals, the Bills. I
Mhm.
don't know. I could see Niners maybe. I saw them in a couple landing spots.
That
I
would
could
be
see
good.
possibly Patriots, but again, Patriots are going to have a ton of cap space and throw a lot of money at him, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily a route that they would want to go with, a question mark there for the reasons I just talked about. They're going to want more of a sure thing, I think, and a healthier wide receiver one, whether that comes to the draft or through a different free agent. I think, going back to the Chiefs, if I was them, I'd be looking at the other guy that Miami just released in Bradley Chubb. I mean, they need a lot of edge help. I could see Bradley Chubb going to the Chiefs. I could see him going to the Bears possibly. Bears were a defense that kind of thrived off, getting turnovers, but overall they kind of
Uh-huh.
struggled on the defensive line. But I would love to see Bradley Chubb over to the Cowboys too. We need some edge help
There
as
you
well,
go.
which we'll get into in a little bit. But how realistic do you think Tyreek to the Steelers actually is, or is that just kind of a pipe dream right now?
That's a pipe dream. We don't even have like so he's a free agent. Like I'm not totally sure how all this works. So he's a free agent, so it wouldn't be a trade, right? It's just kind of like
Correct.
they
Just
would have to
picking them up.
offer him it's just whoever's going to offer him the most money or where he wants to go at this point basically.
Correct. Yeah.
Um and with our quarterback situation, like he's not going to want to come play with us. He's going to be looking to play with like a Mahomes or an Allen or Lamar. Not saying he's going to go to those three teams, but he's going to be looking for a quarterback like that because he
Yeah.
went to the Dolphins and he played with Tua and realized like, it's really hard to get the ball when your quarterback can't throw the ball that far and he's not, and when your quarterback's not super healthy. So, um, yeah, I feel like the Bills are super interesting because, like, I
Yeah.
mean, they
Sneaky.
could offer him money, offload some wide receivers. Obviously, we've seen what they think of Keon Coleman, so who knows? Maybe they end up getting rid of Keon Coleman and bringing in Tyreek Hill, a veteran for Josh Allen. I don't think that gets them over the top. It's not the Bills' offense that's the problem; it's their defense. So I think they need to focus on that more. Like you said, the Chiefs might be a landing spot. He's already getting paid by the Dolphins, so like,
Yeah.
a team could come in and offer him like it's not going to be a huge amount unless he gets really greedy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Wherever
Pittsburgh's
he
a pipe dream, so
yeah, wherever he goes, it's going to be interesting to see just the role that he fills because I don't think if it's on a contender, I don't think he's going to sign there as wide receiver one. He's going to be, a depth piece, a wide receiver two, something like that. I don't think that he's going to be on a contender and be the one. I don't think he's got quite that potential anymore, especially coming off off an injury like that. I'm not sure. And maybe he comes back and he kills it and he's, 2018 Tyreek Hill again, but that's just a little bit more of a doubt in
Maybe.
my mind, at least for teams that are looking at him. So um
Patriots
another
are interesting. Like
yeah.
Drake May, long ball, like that is interesting. But I think that
Mm-hmm.
their problems are offensive line. They were in the freaking Super Bowl. I don't think like if they fix their offensive line, I think it kind of
I
fixes everything else. And they're building something with their young guys. So I don't know. I
yeah.
don't think Tyreek makes a lot of sense there, but it kind of makes the most sense in my mind.
But
But I don't know.
I think they're also going to be pretty heavy on wide receiver though, because more than likely Diggs is going to be, if not in prison, I think there's going to be a suspension waiting for him. I mean, if Rashee Rice got
Yeah,
6 games for his allegations, I think Diggs is going to get at least a few games, if not maybe not necessarily more. But I think there's just going to be some question marks there. And who's there too? Mac Hollins, like they're going to be looking to beef up in some way, shape, or form.
they got
You
Booty.
know, to yeah, exactly. To get a wide receiver there, which they might get in the draft, which is a great segue into our next little part here, the little NFL mock draft. I really don't care about mock drafts, but this one caught my eye just because I really like the two players that we're going to be getting here, or not acting like we're already on a team, that we might be getting here.
You're getting really
Um,
excited really
I am
fast.
getting really excited, which is typical
uh,
Cowboys fodder. Like,
it
disappointing
is.
season, and
That's
then we get all
typical
amped
cowboy
up for,
behavior.
our couple first round picks that we had. But Field Yates came out with his second mock draft of the offseason here. Some pretty normal names you're seeing going at the top. Mendoza at 1, Arvo Reese is likely number 2 to the Jets. Couple offensive tackles. Caleb Downs to the Giants at 5. Kansas City getting Jeremiah Love at number 9, which would be interesting if they went running back. That would be a huge pickup for that Chiefs backfield, which really struggled this past year. Ruben Bain, which I would love to see on the Cowboys, going 10 to the Bengals. And then down in 12, we have the Cowboys getting Sonny Styles, and then with our second draft pick of the first round, at number 20, we're projected to get TJ Parker from Clemson, which, like, bro, if we got those two dudes, like, I mean, Super Bowl. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that
Maybe,
toxic
maybe.
Cowboys fan, guys, but I think that would
Are you sure?
massively help our defense, which struggled obviously more than almost any other team in the NFL. If we even had an average defense, we would have been at least in the playoffs and hopefully making some noise. But if we got those two guys, I think obviously the edge help would be huge. If we could keep, Quinnen Williams and possibly Kenny Clark as well in the middle, and then have TJ Parker come on the outside, that would be massive. Sonny Styles to pair him up with Demarion Overshone at the linebacker position, two young studs at the linebacker position, which we haven't had since who even knows when, 2018-19. We had like Leighton Vander Esch and maybe a Sean Lee combination for you guys that are OGs and remember that combo. But yeah, just seeing those two names on there as possible guys we could get got me a little amped up. But I know that mock drafts hardly ever come to fruition and happen exactly like they're kind of laid out to be. Obviously, I wouldn't mind Caleb Downs if he dropped to us, but I don't think he's making it out of the top 10. So unless we moved up by trading, I don't think that would happen. So yeah, if those two guys fell to us, I would be more than happy. But the player that the Steelers have taking in this mock draft is none other than good old Ty Simpson from Bama. How would you feel
Uh,
about a contending Steelers team taking a quarterback in the first round? Reminiscent of Green Bay Packer
I
days
mean,
when Rodgers was having to be okay with them drafting Jordan Love instead of getting a receiver they can contend with.
yeah, I mean, it's just the same old song and dance. Like we're never picking in the top 10 because we're just always just mediocre, like just in the middle, above 500, make the playoffs, lose type of crap every year. Um, yeah, it's just you have to pick a quarterback because at this point you're just hoping that one of these late rounders eventually hit. You know, the last time we picked semi-high, we took Kenny Pickett, and it was like, yeah, no way that was ever going to work out. Pittsburgh guy through and through. You know, it was a good story, but just at the end of the day, doesn't have the talent to play in the NFL as we've seen.
But
I
you could
am
get
going to kick
Simpson in the
myself.
second round.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But like, we have to take a swing and get Ty Simpson because like, I don't know. I don't think he'll be on the board. Like someone like the Jets or somebody will pick him up before then. I mean, I don't know. We're just one of those teams that really just needs a quarterback, and so we're gonna just take a swing on trying to overpay for Ty Simpson in the first round at 21. Um, I'm just I can't help every time I see Jackson Dart, I just hate
Oh
my
my.
freaking life as a Steelers fan because we had this freaking backdoor handshake deal with Aaron Rodgers, who was just, you know, had our hands tied. Like I would have even been all right if we took freaking Shador Sanders. But we passed on Dart, we passed on Sanders, and we were just like, we take Will Howard
Will
because
Howard, yeah.
it's so
He could still end
frustrating,
up
dude.
being a good player though. Like you haven't seen
He
anything
could,
of
and
him.
that's part of the reasoning behind not bringing Aaron Rodgers back. Is they're saying that McCarthy's really good at developing young quarterbacks, so why not give Will Howard a try and see what he's capable of? Because obviously we haven't seen anything. He's been in training camp, but that's not anything to really, you know, hang your hat on. He hasn't had any number one team reps up to this point, I don't believe.
Yeah, I don't know why you would draft Ty Simpson when you already have basically Ty Simpson on your roster and Will Howard, who you haven't even given game time reps to. Like, why would you draft, let's say Rodgers comes back, another backup quarterback? So now you've got 4 QBs on your roster, 2 of them that you drafted in the last 2 years. I would stay away from Simpson. And if you're really trying to go in a different direction than Rodgers, let's say Rodgers doesn't come back, at least see what you got and Will Howard for at least a couple games. And,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Maybe
think
you take a swing on a free agent QB like Kirko Cousins or somebody like that. I don't know.
I hope that we take all the pundits, and this is what I want to do when I first like kind of heard about it. I hope we take all the analysts and all the pundits, you know, advice, and we throw everything in the kitchen sink at getting Malik Willis from Green Bay.
Ooh. I
I
love Malik Willis,
If
dude.
we did that, I would feel so good. Like, call me crazy, and you can freaking clip this and turn it into a reel if you want. I would give up TJ Watt to get Malik Willis at this point.
Oh
I
my
would.
gosh.
I would. TJ Watt's aging. His stats were down last year. Our defense is obviously so old already. Like, with TJ Watt, you could get a haul at this point. Like, if Max Crosby, and I get he's younger, you can get a lot for Max Crosby. Like, if the Raiders were to trade Max Crosby, you could still get quite a bit for TJ Watt. And
Maybe.
like, dude, just,
Man, if
you
you
know,
send
that's
him
a
to Green
little
Bay, though, he'd be going back home. That'd be cool. Back to
exact. But so,
Wisconsin.
like, I'm just saying, like, I'm to the point where, like, we need a quarterback. We've shown that we can get defensive players. We can build a good defense. We,
But that was with Tomlin.
I know. It's such an up in the air thing. I'm in this like in between because, but I'm getting to that point where I'm just like, please, like, get into free agency and take a giant swing. I know Malik Willis is like, you know, he's kind of been a backup QB. He's shown like really, really good spurts as being a franchise QB. Who knows what he'll do in like I would even take bringing in Kyler Murray and
Oh,
like
no.
seeing what he
No.
would do in a different place. I know I shake my head at it too, but like I'm just at that point as a Steelers fan. I'm just so desperate for like game changing QB play that I'm just like, dude, go for the fences, get Malik Willis. I don't know if you can get like Kyler Murray like in a trade that because the Cardinals are just trying to release him, get rid of him. Sure,
Yeah.
bring him in, see what he can do. You know, just create this QB competition, but don't create a QB competition where we're watching Will Howard, Aaron Rodgers, and Ty Simpson battle it out. Like bring in some real talent. Not saying Aaron Rodgers isn't still talented. He's just old. And I have seen reports about Will Howard that people don't believe in him like we hope. And I think why they would draft Ty Simpson, I think from just what the analysts have been saying, I think his ceiling is higher than Will Howard's at this moment. I don't even know if he's better than Will Howard at this moment, but his ceiling's definitely higher from the reports I've seen. So I'm just in this spot where I am just like, we got to do something. And if it means getting rid of some guys on defense, you know what? This Steeler fan is in for it.
Yeah, dude, nah, I do not like Kyler Murray at all. I think he's turnover prone. Don't blame him because he can't see over his line. Addicted to Call of Duty. I wouldn't touch him. Malik Willis, I think he's interesting. I think he's shown spurts. Like his Tennessee career wasn't that great. He wasn't really given like a real opportunity there. Um, he only started like a handful of games. Didn't look great, didn't look terrible, I wouldn't say, but what are you going to do on a Tennessee squad? That was post Vrabel, so they were kind of a dumpster fire. Obviously Green Bay Malik Willis has shown spurts for sure. I just think the sample size is still so small. You're not really sure if that's going to be able to translate. I loved I think it was the Ravens game that he ended up starting where I mean he just looked super in control, like very just composed, and that was like a decently big game for them at the time, I think. So he just again he threw for a couple touchdowns, I think 2 or 3 touchdowns. He just looked really comfortable in, I don't know if it was that offense or just a little bit more experience under his belt, but he got a lot of people talking about what he might demand in the offseason if he were to be either. I'm not actually sure of his contract situation, if he's a free agent or if he would command some kind of trade, but obviously you're willing to throw your franchise guy at him for for just for something that I think is a little bit unproven at this point. But I think if you could get a couple more games under his belt, I don't necessarily think that you throw TJ Watt at him, but if you could get him for maybe something a little bit less than that, um, I think he'd be an interesting quarterback to see in Pittsburgh for sure. So I definitely agree with that.
I mean, I might be just like, I don't know. I could just be off my rocker because I'm just so tired of like seeing that we're gonna take Ty Simpson at 21, and I'm just like, I'm so over it. So I'm like willing to overpay for a quarterback that definitely has a higher ceiling than Ty Simpson, and has played in the NFL and has shown that he has starter qualities. The outlier is like McCarthy. Like he does well with QBs. I mean, Dak Prescott had his MVP seasons with Mike McCarthy, so he's known to get the best out of some younger quarterbacks. So, it is different. Like if we had Tomlin,
he worked with Rodgers.
Exactly, and I'm just like, if we still had Tomlin, I'd be like, yeah, no to especially Kyler, and no to Malik Willis, because like it just wouldn't work out. But yeah, that's my little rant because I am just so done with this quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. Like everybody has a quarterback. Like the Titans have a quarterback. They just suck everywhere else.
Yeah.
Like and they feel like they're in a better position than we are. Like sure the winning hasn't been there, but like figure some things out. They got Robert Saleh there to fix the defense. They got freaking what's his face? Giants old coach on the offensive side. Dayball, yeah. So
they might be a little. They don't have the players yet, but I think the coaching staff they've got in place over there might be a little frisky next couple of years. But
yeah,
we'll
before
see.
the season starts next year, we need to, or I mean technically this year, but before next season comes, we should like kind of like take a look at the teams and be like, who do we think's going to make like a huge jump? Like, and the Titans are one of those teams, like maybe not like, Patriots winning the Super Bowl, but like I could see them being really, really frisky. Raiders, if they can figure some things out. If Mendoza ends up being a little better than what a lot of people are saying he's going to end up being, I mean, they could be pretty good.
Yeah,
But
Titans are in a
we'll see.
division too where they could really. It's kind of like you just mentioned the Patriots. They were obviously not solely because of the division they were in, but it helps when you get to play the Jets and the Dolphins twice a year. I think the Titans could also kind of benefit from the same kind of thing and not being in a NFC situation with like the 49ers and the Seahawks and the Rams. It's a little bit of an easier road if they were to make a big jump this year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the offseason goes, and definitely when we start gearing up for the next season, which can't come soon enough already. But until then, we have plenty of other sports to highlight, and we'll get into some of those coming up right after this. All right, we had the All-Star game this past weekend. I enjoyed it. Not gonna lie, I thought it was pretty
Sucked.
good. Oh my gosh, here we go. Hey, but at least we finally disagree on something. This podcast probably hasn't taken off because we're just so freaking agreeable all the time. Like we're literally like one mind on this podcast. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but we haven't taken off, so I'm just gonna go with the bad thing. But obviously they switched up the format for the NBA All-Star game. It was World versus USA, but the USA had two teams, kind of a young team and then an old head team. The world team actually ended up going out sooner than I thought. They lost that first game, even though Wembanyama came out and he was just like, "I'm gonna play. I don't know if anybody else is gonna play." And he
Yeah.
came out. I think he like dunked the first possession of the
Did.
game and
Yeah.
was just like, "Yeah, I'm here to actually show up and compete." And I was just like, you know what? Props to you.
Yeah.
I don't care that you're French. He can be the face of the league for all I
Good at your
care.
French.
I don't care. I don't care. Like, I mean, Cooper's coming, but like right now it's Wemby's world and we all just kind of live in it. But obviously you kind of gave your opinion on it. But what did you not like about it? Like, what did you think was kind of
Well,
like still similar?
I didn't mean necessarily like that the games part. I was thinking about the whole weekend as a whole, and like it's all become
True.
like more and more of
True.
a joke. Like, dude, the slam dunk contest. We've been saying it for a long time, but it's absolutely terrible. I
Awful.
mean, you got dudes just like throwing down like two-hand hammers and like winning. I'm like, dude, and the guys that are competing like are just like,
Yeah.
obviously we had Mac McClung win it like 2 or 3 years in a row, and he's a
Yeah.
G League player.
Mm-hmm.
Couple guys now that are just bench dudes. Like it's kind of a mockery. The 3-point contest was okay. I think Dame won it. He had actually a pretty impressive performance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's fine. But like, the skills contest is gone because of the mockery that Chris Paul and Wemby made of it last year.
Mm.
Just whatever. And like the format for the games, I thought it was the concept was finally like giving everybody what they want and like the world versus the US. But why did they have to like screw it all up by making this like 3-team tournament thing? Like, I get you have technically more American players than world players, but like they had, I felt like enough for just like 2 teams, and you just have a little bit more people on the American team because it felt like there's several guys on the American team that were out anyway. So just do it straight up. This way you get like 3, I guess the world, since they lost both of their games, they technically only had 2 games, and then like they're like 10-minute games. So it's just like, how much can you actually like play or get serious when they're 10 minutes long? Like that's just kind
Yeah.
of dumb. And then you had like Luka and Jokic both played like 5 minutes each. Luka was on a minutes restriction, and I don't think Jokic really cared that much. Same for some of the American players. Like obviously Curry was out, and several of them just didn't care. I think the only players that really still cared was, like you were saying, Wemby, Anthony Edwards. I think Jaylen Brown said that he was going to try. He was pretty motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, dude, like, I don't know, it just kind of felt like the same old, same old. It's despite the format being a lot better maybe than in years past.
Yeah. I liked the round robin tournament because it just made it like if you
Just needs to be
put
longer. Like, you blink and the game's over. Like, how, and like one team goes on a little bit of a run and like it's over. Like,
Yeah. They definitely did it because of some of the old guys. Like you saw in that championship game, even after that was their third game, they were done. Like, the young US team just like went on a run and never looked back, beat them by like 20 something points or something like that. Um I just liked it cuz like you had the competition between like obviously the world. I thought it was super smart to have the two teams where it was like an old head team and a young team because obviously, the young guys want to beat the older guys and the old guys want to make sure the young guys know that they can still play, which happened. So you have that competition between the U.S. teams, and then obviously both U.S. teams versus the world, and the world wants to win. So
Right,
I
but
just thought it was smart. But
no, I agree with that part, but like the problem is like even with this format it could work, but like you still have to get the buy-in of more than
yeah,
like half the players for it to work. Like I agree that the format could work even, despite the fact that I have a couple gripes with it specifically. You just need way more of the players to act like Wemby and Anthony Edwards to make it an actually like watchable event where you get hype for like, all right, world versus USA.
yeah,
But, you know, it's
yeah.
still kind of the same old with those issues. But I agree, it could be a really good, watchable event if more people would buy in.
Yeah, I agree with that. And definitely in comparison to like what we've had before, it was way better than what we've
Yeah,
had before. And I think that's why I enjoyed it being shorter games, because if you think about it, like, you know, yeah, not everybody was buying in, but like between the players that were buying in and were playing, like you had 10 minutes of like semi-competitive basketball where like, if it was like 15, 18 minutes of, eventually people would just like start giving up and realize like, yeah, this doesn't matter. But then you would have another game and they would get re-amped up to play that next
true.
one. So I
Yeah,
just thought it was it was about time that they changed something. They had to try something because they were getting to the point where it was just like, maybe we should just not do the All-Star game or All-Star
yeah.
weekend at all. I agree
Yeah, well,
that the
they've
3-point contest was also kind of lame. There's been stuff going around on social media where Steph's trying to get, a group of 3-point specialists Steph already said that he's going to be in it next year. He's trying to get like Dame, Clay, Devin Booker, and I think like
Clay's
maybe one other.
washed. He's gonna miss
He
out.
can still stroke it though. He can still stroke it, man.
Can
Wide
he? He had that
open.
one game where he's like 0 for 12 from three
That's why he comes off the bench. That's why. That's
for
why
the
they got
Mavs.
Cooper. They got Cooper flag. They don't need Clay anymore. Clay needs to go back to Golden State and ride off to the sunset with his buddies Draymond and Steph. But
Should have never left.
dude, I think about that all the time. Like, why? Why didn't they just figure it out?
Because he went to go play with Luca and then they traded him.
And he also didn't want to come off the bench. And now what is he doing? He's coming off the bench after they traded everybody that he went to play with.
He
So
was
they
he
still
was
got.
balling when Luca was there though. Like right
He
before they
was.
traded him,
Well, Luca just
they found something there.
makes everything easy, I feel like, unless, you're the Lakers and no one plays defense. But I digress. Yeah. So Sammy and I are a little split on the All-Star game. Both agree that it was better than what has transpired the last few years. Maybe they can make a few more tweaks and start getting people. They just need to throw money at it. That's all they got to do. Just like throw a ton of. I know all these guys are millionaires, but like
Yeah,
still,
that's the thing.
everybody wants money. So I don't know, maybe put a little cash prize in there or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of gonna do it for the NBA side of things. We'll start kind of. We're into basketball now, but the big part of basketball that we're diving into now is obviously college basketball. We had a lot of really, really good games this past week. Some top seeded teams going down to lower seeded teams. Some surprises, like Nebraska was like undefeated, like they were like 23-0. Then they ended up going on like this 3-game slide. So I think they're still ranked like 23rd in the nation. They're actually a pretty good team still, but we got March Madness 30 days away. So what Sam and I are going to do, and I texted Sam yesterday because I usually drop these things on him like 2 hours before the podcast, be like, yeah, give me your national championship, and do a ton of research like 2 hours before. And it's just like, that's not going to work. But
Yeah.
we kind of both picked who we think's going to win the national championship game. So I'll send it right over to you, Sammy. Who's winning the 2026 NCAA basketball tournament?
Well, going a little chalky with my pick here. I'm gonna go with Houston.
Really?
Top of the Big 12 as it currently stands right now. Top 5 in the nation. I think they're what, second or third maybe?
Really?
I think they moved down a little bit maybe with the last rankings. No, 2 right now. Perfect. That's what I thought. But no, I really like just what they've got going on over there. I think they returned several guys from the team that went to the national championship last year, gave Florida all they could handle in that game. Obviously, Uzan is back there. Tugler's their kind of their defensive anchor who can also give you a little something on the offensive end as well. I really like both of them. Kingston Flemings has come in as a freshman,
Oh,
leading a team that is already returning all those guys, but leading a
mm-hmm.
team in scoring that has a national championship potential. I think that's super, super impressive for a guy his age. And like I said, a freshman just come in and dominate like he has in a loaded Big 12 on a contender like that. It's going to be is really, really cool to see. And obviously they still have Emmanuel Sharp as well. He's a senior. He's going to be wanting to end his career with a natty as well. So I just like how well rounded the team is. Obviously they've got the championship DNA and going to the national championship last year, not quite winning it, but obviously going through the gauntlet that is the NCAA tourney last year. I just feel like they've got the stuff to take it all the way this year. So a little chalky, but I think that they're going to be there in the end again.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout, dude. Like, I mean, obviously, a national championship contender is highly ranked during the season.
Yeah,
And so,
right.
like, I mean, like when you're picking these, it's not like you're gonna sit here and scroll down through the rankings and be like,
Picking
yeah,
St. Louis.
NC State's making a run this year, like they
Yeah,
did a few years ago. But I don't know, maybe we'll get that just with the NIL stuff. I don't think we're just not gonna get that really anymore. Like
yeah,
all these
probably not.
Cinderella runs, it's kind of I think the overall like ceiling, like the product like overall is better because it spreads out that talent across like the top conferences and the top teams. And so like you get like a Nebraska who's better because like yeah, they're still in the Big 10 and so like they can use NIL money to get some better players, but I don't think overall it's going to make like a Coastal Carolina or George Mason a national title contender. It's just going to spread it out across the top. Is it in basketball? Top five? No, top four conferences. Um, top five. I can't remember. Pac-12 is not a thing, but there's Big East. Basketball has Big East. So, um, but all right, my national championship, and it's not even supposed to be a dark horse. It's just who we think's gonna win it. I almost went Houston too, and again, we almost
Glad you didn't.
we were almost right there. It'd be chalky to go like Duke, you know, or Illinois maybe, but I'm actually going to go Iowa State, man. I watched, and it's documented that Sammy's not a believer in Iowa State. I think last season, I think he kept
This
saying
year?
it. No, last
Oh, I was
season, I
gonna
don't know.
say,
It
I
was
don't.
it was documented that you just kept calling them frauds. They ended up being frauds. So Sammy was right. But
That's right.
I'm gonna go Iowa State. I watched them play Houston last night. And dude, Iowa State defends. They got scrappy players. They got guys that can shoot the three ball super well. They're overall, I think they're getting really hot at the right time. They're also staying extremely healthy. Um one of my preseason, like we didn't do a preseason thing, but one of the teams I thought that could do really, really well, and I also am a fan of them, BYU, super injured right now. Their depth is shot, and they just lost Richie Saunders, tore his ACL this past week, and so he's out. So that hurts their chances as well. But I think Iowa State, especially coming out of the Big 12, just like Houston, um, that conference is for real. Like every night, you are playing tournament teams. Top ranked tournament teams. I mean, like even I almost picked Texas Tech because I just watched them beat Arizona, who was the number one team in the country last week. They beat them as like a 16 seed, um, and absolutely went off. And I just think there's so much competition in the Big 12. You are so ready once you get to tournament play, and I think Iowa State is peaking at the right time. They have some really really good wins. They got good confidence. As we kind of end February and head into March, their coach is extremely, extremely good. And so I just think if any year Iowa State they have a couple losses that are kind of like head scratchers. I think that's why they're at 8. I think they're gonna definitely bump up next week because they just beat Houston at number 2, so they could see themselves bump up to like that 6th, maybe 5th spot. So then my pick will end up being a little more chalky, but yeah, I think the Cyclones find a way to get it done here in March coming up. I'm super excited for it. I know we don't talk a lot about our favorite teams because they're trash. But your team's actually semi like on the bubble.
Uh,
Are they still right there on the bubble? Like first team's out, second team's out?
yeah, last I checked, it was a couple days ago. Yeah, we're like I think we're next 4 out right now. Um but yeah, I mean we started out really really strong, kind of just beating the teams, that we had a lot of tune-ups for some reason. So obviously our record was looking pretty good, but then we started league play. We're pretty good for a little while in there, but then we just started losing to teams we shouldn't lose. I mean, we're taking, good teams to the wire or just kind of possibly even beating them. Like we beaten UCF, who was ranked at the time. We beat a Texas A&M, who for a while they were at the top of the SEC. I'm not exactly sure where they rank right now, but I still think that they're a pretty good squad. We had beaten another team that I'm kind of blanking on, that was ranked as well. I think it was BYU. Yeah, it was BYU. They were
Mm-hmm.
ranked like 15 at the time. But then we followed up by losses to, teams we should be beating. Like we've lost to TCU twice now, which is just kind of inexcusable. We've lost to Arizona State, which we should have beaten in a pretty tight
Mm-hmm.
game. So just those kind of losses will really hurt you in the rankings. Got blown out by Arizona. That was not a pretty game. It was like 30-point blowout. But yeah, it's just tough. Like we have a really good scorer on our team, but we just kind of struggle rebounding the ball and getting bodies down low that can compete with some of the bigger teams in our league, which is kind of hurt us. So, lost to 3 games in a row now. Got Kansas coming up tomorrow, so not looking great for my Oklahoma State Cowboys. Unfortunately, after our first several games going really really well, but we're kind of gearing up for next year because we got 3 4 stars coming in that should make our team pretty good. So I was getting pretty hyped for this year when we were like 8-16-1 or whatever we were, something crazy. But now I just don't think we're gonna make the tournament with the skid that we're on unless we do something crazy in the Big 12 tourney or something. But yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. And I'm right there with you. But your outlook on things is way better than Syracuse at this point. We just literally lost by like 40 points the other night or last night to
You
Duke,
for
dude.
real?
Yeah, it was
I hadn't
bad.
seen that. To
Actually,
Duke?
quick math. It's we lost like 37 points, 64 to 101. Got
Wow.
destroyed by
Wow.
Duke, dude. And it was so frustrating because at the beginning of the season, we were in Vegas at like a preseason or like a tip-off tournament, and we took Houston to overtime, and like I was just like, dude, yeah,
Mm.
maybe we're not gonna be there. Maybe
You
we're not
beat
gonna make like
Tennessee early on too, I
we
think.
beat Tennessee early on, I think. I was trying to look it up. Syracuse. Let's look at the beginning of the season. Obviously, we beat like Binghamton, obviously Drexel, Monmouth, but then we play Houston close. I mean, semi close with Kansas, 71-60. That's not a bad loss. Then we got destroyed by Iowa State, national championship pick. Beat Tennessee, 13th ranked Tennessee. Obviously, we've seen Tennessee isn't that great. Then we freaking lose to Hofstra and then go on another, lose to Clemson. Clemson really close, 64-61. But then from there, we just like, yeah, just can't seem to beat anybody. We can't beat
Yeah, you've
Miami.
lost 7 of your last 10 there. That's a tough streak.
Yeah, 7 of our last 10. And against good teams, but we're starting to get like blown out against good teams. And it's just kind of starting to show us that, like, yeah, we really ain't there. I hope we fire Audrey.
Yeah.
I really really hope we get rid of Audrey this offseason and just bring in somebody else. I don't care who. It's just not working with him. Like we have talent. I'm not saying we're the most talented, but we have talent. We have a 5-star. We have a couple 4-stars. Pretty sure Mello's boy is a 4-star. So
You need to
like
get McNamara back or what, or
uh, uh
McNamara, whatever his name is.
McNamara, yes, dude. I don't know where he is. He's at like
He's at Siena or something.
Siena, yeah, Siena College, dude.
I'm
Yes.
sure if
Get rid of
Syracuse hit him
Audrey.
up, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure he would
facts.
oblige. Yeah.
Facts. Get rid of Audrey. Call McNamara and say, "Hey, brother, get back here."
Sorry,
Heck,
we screwed
bring
up.
bring Boeheim out of retirement. Like,
Oh my.
frick it, dude. Frick
We
it.
don't need him soiling the sidelines anymore. We're good.
So embarrassing. So embarrassing. But
His
yeah,
son's on the Thunder now, by the way.
buddy?
Yeah, he's technically on a
Like
two-way
G League?
contract, but yeah,
My word.
he's played
What
a
is he
couple
doing?
games.
Really? Like he's played for them in the NBA? He's not just sitting on the bench?
I mean, he has a few minutes.
Like one
Yeah,
garbage time?
yeah, but
Hey, come in. Come in, buddy. Like,
yeah, we just
oh
signed
my
him like a
word.
week or two ago. But anyway, I digress.
That's wild. Dude, I mean, he had that one tournament run, dude. He looked like him. Like I
Well, that's
remember I can't remember who they were playing, but he literally was like pulled from anywhere. And
yeah.
like, just go
Was
look
that
up some
20?
Buddy Boeheim like mixtape. Like the dude was balling in that COVID tournament.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was
yeah.
Jim's ploy. He like basically sabotaged Syracuse for a couple years to get his son to the league.
Yeah, and he also brought his I think he's older than Buddy, but his oldest not oldest
I
son,
do
but
remember that. Yeah.
brought him over from Cornell and was just like, "Yeah, come play at Syracuse for us."
What
Like
was his name?
the
Wasn't it Jim
nepotism, bro.
Jr. or something?
Yeah, I think it was like Jimmy Boeheim or
Jimmy,
something.
of course it's Jimmy. Jimmy and Buddy.
He was so bad. It was so bad, dude. Yeah, he was literally playing basketball at Cornell, and his dad's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna retire soon. Yeah, you should probably just come play for me for a little
He was
bit."
just doing whatever he wanted late on in his career, dude. He was
Yeah,
just
I
like,
was
screw it.
Dude, I'm so over it. And I'm so over this season with Syracuse. But like I said, the top end of the sport is really, really good. Everybody's kind of beating everybody. If you're in the top 10, you're probably going to lose to another team in the top 10. Very quickly, just wanted to highlight we have a big weekend in college basketball, basically a Final Four during the in the middle of the season. We got number 1 Michigan versus number 3 Duke. Wild. That's going to be a huge game. I think this is going to tell us really how good Duke is because Duke's kind of been just like eating up everybody in the ACC. Not that the ACC is like horrible, horrible, but it's not as good as like, let's say, the Big 12 or the Big 10. And then you got number 4 Arizona against number 2 Houston, a Big 12 matchup. Arizona kind of on a 2-game slide here. So we'll see if either team can bounce back. Houston having that tough loss to Iowa State last night. So we'll see if they get it right. But you said you're not going to really be able to watch any of these games or watch any at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, I might be able to catch bits and pieces, but yeah, we're gonna be up at the lodge all weekend. So, with these games going on, they might put them on. When they come on during the. I actually don't even know what time these games are going down, but if we have free time, I'm
6:30 and
sure.
5:30.
Yeah, we should have at least a little bit of it on, but I won't be locked in like you will be, unfortunately.
Oh my word, dude! I'm gonna be glued to my couch. I'm gonna have 2 TVs going. I'm gonna be watching these, dude. This is a little bit of like a appetizer to March Madness coming
Yeah,
up, dude.
just
I'm
make sure you
so
get
I'm
off
so
work.
pumped. Make sure I get off work. That's right. That's right. But those are going to be some good games. Hope everybody tunes into them. It's really going to tell us a lot about that top end of the AP poll and who's for real and who's not. But without further ado, we're going to hop over the pond here in just a little bit.
Alrighty, jumping over the pond for a little football talk, starting off in the Prem, as we like to do. The title race is getting pretty spicy now, unfortunately for my Gunners. But before we dive into them, talk a little bit about Man United coming into the game against West Ham on a nice 4-game winning streak against the likes of
Wild.
my Gunners, unfortunately, and also
Tough.
Manchester City and also Tottenham Hotspur. Coming into a game, you'd think that they'd win after bagging those 3 dubs, but unfortunately they tie 1-1. And our good friend online, who has promised not to cut his hair until Manchester United win 5 games in a row, is sad once again as they come the closest that they've ever come since he made that promise, and they tied.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Like it was the buildup was insane. Like when he first did it, I was like, this is gonna go on forever. Cause like back then, Manchester United was a dumpster fire, an absolute dumpster fire. And then they started rattling off wins. And I was just like, oh my gosh, they might do this. And then they got to 4 in a row, and I was like, and then they had West
And
Ham,
the
and I was
hard
like,
games
oh,
were
of
behind
course.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, of course, we got this. But no. It might be a conspiracy against him. They just want to see him suffer and never cut his hair again. But no, Manchester United is actually looking like really, really good. What is that guy's name, by the way? I can't
I
remember his
don't
name.
know. I always forget his name, but I
I
always
mean, I
just
know him as the guy that won't cut his hair.
yeah, Man U
So
guy.
yeah, man, you fan won't cut his hair like wild. And also, it was a great social media stunt. He's got a ton of followers now. He's
Dude,
like everywhere.
people were talking about that. Like when slash if they win 5 games in a row, like what is he gonna do then? Like
Yeah.
his social media gimmick is kind of up at that point. Like you just gotta
Mm-hmm.
end it or find something else to do. But like you can't just start over and
Hopefully, he
being
made
like,
his
all
money.
right, cut my hair. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
cut it again until the next 5 wins in a row. Like it's kind of lame. So
It's already been done and dusted. Yeah. Hopefully he made his money before that happens. So
yeah, it's just crazy that in the last year and a half, like Manchester United probably had the toughest stretch of like 4 or 5 games here that they've
mm,
had, and they decided to start their winning streak then with like wins
mm,
against Spurs, Man City, and Arsenal. And
mm-hmm.
then they wet the bed against West Ham there at the end.
For
But
real, dude.
good for him, man.
For
Hopefully
real.
he made his money and continuing to make his money, I guess, with
I mean,
I
yeah,
guess
it's
5 more
reset.
games to go at least until he gets to cut his hair. So
Do they
Man
have a
United's looking
stretch of
pretty good in
games?
fourth.
I was gonna say,
Sorry?
do they have a stretch of games coming up that like they might actually end up doing it? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, let's look at the next 5.
Teams.
They got Everton, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and Bournemouth in the next 5. So Newcastle would be
Oh,
tough. Aston Villa are
little
top 4
testy.
team, but those
Yeah.
other ones are definitely winnable.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. He might never cut his hair ever again. Who knows?
Maybe. Guess we'll see. Moving on to the title race, though, teams that are at the top of the table: Arsenal and Brentford tying 1-1, which left the door wide open. Or I guess Man City had already taken advantage, but they beat Fulham 3-0 to inch within 4 points of Arsenal at the top of the table. Getting pretty testy up there for my Gunners. And the Gunner fans who were, I mean, we can't help but think of the thing that's happened the last, 3 years in a row, as long as we've been contending, where we lead for, a good portion of the first half of the campaign and then just kind of give it up to Man City at the end. A lot of people thought this was our year just because of the significant advantage that we had, especially over Man City for most of the year. I think the biggest one being 12 points, I want to say at one point. Maybe it wasn't quite that much,
Uh-oh.
maybe 9. Um, but I was actually talking to a buddy of mine from Romania who's also an Arsenal fan, kind of grew up as Arsenal fans together. And he's actually of the same mindset as me as far as Arteta is concerned, as far as Arsenal is concerned. I was just asking him, talking a little bit about Arsenal and stuff. And he thinks that if Man City lose or tie to Newcastle and we win our next 2 games, it's a pretty good chance we're going to win. But if we
Mm.
do anything to screw our next couple matches up and Man City win against Newcastle, I would he's there's worry in the Arsenal camp for sure.
I'd be
So
worried, yeah.
I mean I told him what I tell everybody on this podcast all the time. Like Man City basically doesn't lose from here, no matter who they're
Mm-hmm.
playing. That Liverpool dub was huge for them as far as morale, as far as giving them the extra motivation to kick on from here. And Arsenal, like again, they just you can't rely on corners and own goals, and especially if,
Mm-mm.
like since Arteta's been there, they've spent over $1 billion, but they don't play like it. It's just
Mm-mm.
game after game. It's just pragmatic. It's defensive. It's just not what you want to see. So, it's definitely frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, props to you guys. You guys have held on to it longer than I thought you guys would. That's why I believe you guys will find a way to get it done. You guys are a
Yeah.
little deeper, even though you still have injury concerns and stuff like that. You don't have an out and out striker with Gilchrist kind of like being in and out of the lineup. But yeah, these next few games are gonna really be, a big telling of like what's gonna happen at the end of the season. Left the door open a little bit, and you never want to do that against City because they've shown that like once they get going, they're hard to stop.
Yeah, my buddy actually, he kind of agrees with me about after this season, but he's a little bit more strict. I kind of said at the beginning of the season that I'll take any trophy and Arteta can stay, but after everything, I'm like, I'm not going to be okay with just a Carabao Cup or whatever.
No.
My buddy said that we have to win either the Prem or the Champions League, or Arteta kind of needs to be gone. I was like, dude, I totally agree. Like any other club, you give a guy $1 billion and he doesn't win a trophy in 5 years, he'd be gone in
Yeah.
3 years. I
Yeah,
don't
look
know.
at Chelsea. We've switched managers like 3 times.
Yeah. Do you agree with that? Like, I don't know. Like, how much of a leash would you give him, or would he have already been gone in your book?
He wouldn't already be gone in my book, but I do think we're getting to a season where I think if you don't win the Prem, yeah, you probably need to let him go. Champions League's a little harsh. Obviously, if you don't win the Prem and you win the Champions League, it's like, all right, we'll keep you. So yeah, I guess you got to win one. Um, and you have to at least win the Prem like no trophies and just like an FA or a Carabao, like you're done, buddy. Like we've given you everything
Well,
that you asked for, all the money in the world, and you still can't get it done. It's
yeah.
just not working.
My buddy put it perfectly. He's like, Arteta's afraid of failure, but he's also afraid of success and attractive football at the same time. I just thought that
Dude,
was like the
so
perfect way to
true.
put it. He's
So
afraid of
true, yeah.
success and of failure. So
I mean, if you win it,
his
how
play
scummy are you
style
guys
is,
gonna feel? Like own goals and free kicks the whole way.
bro.
Like,
That's what I've been saying. Like I've never seen Arsenal win the league, which is like really sad. And if they win it, like great. But like I don't know. Like I feel like it takes away from it a little bit, just like the way that we play and like just the defensive like corners and like all this stuff. Like I don't know. I
mm-hmm,
feel like it cheapens it a little bit. But
a
like
little bit.
you wanna win it by playing great football and like
Mm.
dominating teams, not like
Mhm.
scraping by like we were doing. But it is what it
Kinda
is.
like Man City the past few years, huh?
Yeah,
Just being
exactly.
like, absolutely dominant and just hitting stride and, like yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly right.
But, hey, you'll take a Premier League, I guess,
Yeah,
any
we'll
way you can get
definitely
it, huh?
take it. Yeah, like I
We
said,
know
I've never seen
Arteta
last
will.
time Arsenal won the Prem, I was 5 years old and I didn't even know what soccer was yet. So,
Yikes, crazy.
yeah, moving on to another title race, which is getting, I wouldn't say getting spicy. It got a little bit less spicy with this last weekend of results, but still very entertaining race for the top four at the very least. The biggest game happening was Inter Milan and Juventus playing to I was about to say a draw. They definitely did not draw. Inter Milan coming away with a 3-2 victory. Very,
Wild.
very good game. One of the best games I've seen in a little while. Back and forth affair here. Inter grabbing the first goal, Juventus coming back and tying. Um, Inter going up again, Juventus coming back and tying again, pretty late on in the 83rd. And then a great strike by Zielinski sees Inter go up for the last and final time to win 3-2. Questionable red card in this one as well.
Yeah, that was super questionable, dude. I know he was on a yellow and the guy was blowing by him, and like, if you reach out, like he definitely reached out to try to stop him, but like, bro, barely any contact, didn't even grab the shirt.
Yeah.
The Inter player definitely made a show of it for sure. As they usually do over there in Europe, and any soccer player would, but like I mean, one side of me says you got to be smarter than that, but on the other side of me, it's like you can't be given a second yellow card for that. Like, granted, I only watched the highlights, so I don't know. Maybe like there was some, iffy decisions that were let off the hook, up to that point, and that was finally like, all right, I got to give you a card. You're just, you're done, buddy. But other than
You're
that, the game
done,
was
buddy.
fantastic. Juventus was still in it until the end of the. Yeah, it was a great game. Again, I only watched the highlights, and just watching, what transpired, I was like, it was a really, really, really good game, and you just
Well,
enjoy watching that kind of match.
yeah, another thing that I came out of the game with is just the fact that Weston McKennie might be the best American player we have, like by position, I mean, like as
Possibly.
far not like the best skill wise or like whatever, but just the guy that can play his position the best. And there's a lot of question marks about where his best position is because he's kind of plays all over the place for Juventus. He's
Everywhere.
played at right back, he's played at left wing. I think he started this game technically as a as a cam, which is kind of weird, but it just seemingly
Wild.
wherever he plays, and especially in this game, he was just everywhere. I mean, recovering, recovering balls. He was also playing playing really good balls to Jonathan David as well, just linking up play. I just thought that was really impressive, and he's been doing it at Juventus. He's kind of been one of their better players for a couple years now. Just a lot of turnover there as far as their players go, but he's kind of been a more of a central figure there for a little while, which is good to see. But
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, right now, truly, I mean, Christian's been hurt as well. Kind of took a dip in form
always,
as well, but uh Weston McKennie is definitely solidifying himself as like a mainstay, needs to be starting for us at the World Cup. Um
yeah.
yeah, some Americans are just starting to ball out at the right time, which is super promising as we get, closer and closer to that World Cup that's going to be here on home soil come this summer. So,
Yep, everybody except Christian Pulisic. Anyway, moving
everybody.
on.
It's all right,
Napoli.
but that's good because usually it's just Christian Pulisic. It's nobody
True,
else. So,
it's true.
if all the pieces are around him, then Christian can just find some form super late. Like, I mean, Florian Balogun had a great, great day today. So, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll touch on him in a little bit. But last game we'll touch on in Serie A before we move on to the Champions League is Napoli and Roma playing to a 2-2 draw. Napoli had more of the possession, more of the chances, but Roma able to fight back with a Daniel Malin brace to bring them level. Napoli kind of out of the title race at this point. They kind of were when they lost to I think it was Inter a couple games ago. They're sitting in third, about 11 points off first place, Inter there. But you were saying off pod that you just like seeing Roma back in the mix, up
Yeah.
there pretty high in a Champions League spot, and Juventus actually sitting in fifth in a Europa League spot after this weekend's loss.
Yeah, this is what I love about European soccer. No playoffs, no nothing like that, but like you're playing for position. Like, yeah, Inter's kind of running away with it at this point, but like AC Milan and Napoli and Roma and Juventus, like they're all right there, like trying to make sure that they get into the Champions League next season. Like that's super important. Not only just financially, but just like when you're a big club, that you want to be playing in the biggest competitions. Like, sure, Europa's still a big competition, but the Champions League is at the top for a reason. So this is just why we love European soccer. It's just great to watch. I love seeing Roma and Napoli do well and be playing for those positions.
Yeah, and it's a big draw for players in the summer. Like, I mean, a player might decide to not join your
Mm.
team just because you're in the Champions League or not. So, yeah, it's a big draw for some free agent and some summer transfers as well. So, yeah, great stuff in Serie A. It's gonna, despite the larger gap now that Inter Milan has, it's gonna be a good race, at the very least for top four all the way to the end. So, like we keep saying, we love to see those top 5 or 6 teams and the teams that are there fighting it out. So, love to see
Yes,
that.
sir.
Last thing we'll touch on here before we get out of here, Champions League. We had the first leg, first 4 games of the first leg of the knockout stage in the Champions League. Several games going on here. First one we'll touch on is Galatasaray, putting 5 goals past a Juventus squad, like we just talked about, coming off a pretty hurtful defeat in the league. Getting down early. I just kept seeing couple buzz on my phone, like, oh wow, they're kind of putting it on Juventus there in the second half. But what do you think went wrong here? It sounds like you watched a little bit of the game, or at least highlights. Really dominated Juventus as far as the stat sheet goes. What little bit I saw of it, and we were talking about this a little bit at the beginning of the season, just kind of what's some of the teams in Turkey had as far as some players that kind of used to be on bigger teams, like Davison Sanchez being on from Tottenham. Obviously, they still have Lucas Torreira and Victor Osimhen, who also played for Napoli. So definitely some guys that maybe you kind of would see on other teams in their prime, but still making a good career at Galatasaray. And speaking of McKennie, he started at striker this game, by the way. So I'm just kind of peppering all over the field there.
Yeah, his coach came out the other 2 weeks ago and was like, he's like the perfect striker. Like literally was just like, I was like,
Yeah.
what? McKennie?
So,
Anyways,
some other players that Galata have are Leroy Sané,
yeah,
Maro Icardi, and
yeah.
Ilkay Gundogan as well. So
I mean, yeah, I
a
mean, this
little bit
squad
of
5 years ago would have been world records,
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Like,
dude. That's what I'm
holy crap! And
saying.
obviously, still really good. I mean, Juventus is a good squad, doing
Yeah,
well in Serie A. I mean, Serie A is just stacked at the top right now. So just the fact that Juventus is in fifth tells you how good that
what a downfall
um
though. Let's be honest.
yeah,
A little
yeah.
bit.
I mean,
Anyway,
went from
sorry,
winning
keep
it like
interrupting
10
you.
years in a row to
Yeah,
you know it was after Buffon left, after everything fell apart when Buffon left. So,
yeah.
but Galatasaray, like, dude, I watched the first half. I had it on, and I was like, dude, they're actually playing really well. But then they scored that first goal, and then Juventus got those quick 2 right after, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, this is kind of when Juventus kind of takes over and really shows their dominance and whatever. Again, really, really, touchy. Or no, that was not in this one. Was there a red card in this one? Yeah, there
Yeah,
was.
in the second half.
I'm getting them all mixed up because
It
there
was
was a
right
red card in that
before
last one
Galata
too.
scored 3 unanswered.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and then I looked at the score after because I didn't watch the second half. It was like 5 goals. They scored 5 goals. I was like, holy crap. So they're definitely a team not to mess with. And Juventus has a tall task in the second leg. I'm pretty sure this was away for Juventus, so they'll have it at home, in the second leg. But still, like
A lot to do.
being down 3 goals, man, and those away goals don't count anymore, man. They do not count anymore. So it'll be an interesting second leg for sure.
Yeah, I think they'll make some noise, but that's going to be a
Yeah.
tough hill to climb when you got a 3-goal advantage and you can just pack your box, put 6 center defenders out there, and just kind of
Yeah.
pack it in. Yeah, it'll be tough
Exactly.
for Juve, unfortunately. But
The
big props
Mourinho
to
special.
Galatasaray and seeing them, with their older guys who used to be really good squad doing good. So, love
Hmm.
to see it. But moving
Yes,
on
sir.
to nice little French action here. PSG versus Monaco. Pretty interesting stuff with Monaco going ahead early 2-0, with, like you were saying, a Falarin Balogun brace. But kind of falling apart the rest of the game. PSG coming back to win 3-2. Red card in this one as well, going against Monaco.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, good to see Balogun in form, scoring a brace in under 20 minutes in this game to start the game off. Did not watch anything about this game, so I'm assuming Monaco probably came out, kind of punched PSG in the mouth, and then they woke up in the second half. Obviously, Doué
Not
had
even
two
second half.
goals.
As soon as the
Oh yeah,
second goal went
29.
in, dude, it was
It was
PSG. They
game
had like
on, game
30
on.
shots or something
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, Doué with 2 goals, Hakimi with 1. So like PSG just flexing, showing that they're the reigning European champs for a reason. But Monaco keeping it close, only down a goal heading into the second leg. So,
Yep.
you know, make
All to
it
play
make it
for.
interesting.
Yeah, and PSG have kind of tinkered with their lineup all year. Obviously, they can do that being in Liga, but um, basically rolling out a pretty close to full strength squad here with John Neves and Vitinha back in midfield, Dembele up top, Barcola and Kvaratskhelia on the wings, and then their back four is basically unchanged. Mendes and Hakimi were dealing with some injuries. At the end of last calendar year. But they're back in the lineup now, so kind of can expect a full strength PSG squad from here on out, especially in the Champions League. So good win for them. But like you said, everything to play for really in the return leg with only a 1 goal advantage there for PSG. Moving on to Real Madrid and Benfica, pretty close game here overall with opportunities on both sides, but Madrid ultimately getting the dub 1-0. Very limited advantage there, but Vinicius Jr. with a very, very nice goal, nice curler to the outside to give Madrid the advantage going back to Madrid.
Yeah, and I mean, this game was it was closer than people probably thought. Benfica obviously the last match day snuck into the knockout stages with a late winner. So that was pretty exciting last time they were out. But this is kind of more highlighted about just like the madness that took place. Like obviously there was some things said that Vinny took exception to, not sure they're true or not. Most of the time they end up being, inconclusive.
Allegedly, don't sue us.
Allegedly, but yeah, I mean, just showing Vinny, I don't know, some of the things that he's saying shouldn't have been said, but like I feel like it's every game. It's like there's something going on, whether it's
With
something
him. Yeah.
about this or like Vinny's just taking exception to reffing or another player. Like I don't know. At the end of the day, like sometimes you just got to play the game. I understand the things that he's saying. There's no place for, but like it's just you're up 1-0. Let's just keep it moving type deal. I just feel like there's always something when it comes to this Madrid squad. But
Yeah.
again, another game that ends close going into the second leg, and Benfica can be that. They can be kind of squirrely, kind of that sneaky team that snuck into the knockout stages.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, it always seems like there's something with Vinny. I mean, almost seemingly not every game, but every couple
Almost every
games
game.
you're seeing a notification pop up like, oh, allegations of this, allegations of that. Obviously, it changes things a lot if it's coming from a player on the opposing team, and we don't
Mm.
know exactly what he said or nothing's been necessarily confirmed, but there was something said that seemingly was out of pocket, just judging by a lot of the Real Madrid players' reactions. So never like to see that necessarily, but yeah, it's unfortunate that it had to be kind of the main talking point about this instead of the Madrid victory. But Madrid played pretty well. Like I said, pretty even match overall. Benfica now being coached by Jose Mourinho. Mourinho getting a red card in this game, so he'll be not on their bench for the return leg, which is so stupid, but of him.
Chosen
But
one
it is what it is. But
is what it is.
something we don't have in the doc, even though we wanted to touch on Madrid now, top of the table in La Liga,
Ayo, good for
despite
you guys.
Barcelona, not despite, but because of Barcelona dropping to Girona 2-1, 3-2 in the league. And that was also
Not
on the
good.
heels of a 4-0 defeat for Atletico Madrid. So we'll get your 2 cents before we touch on the last game of Champions League here.
Uh, I don't know, man. Barcelona,
Okay,
man.
sounds good.
Yeah, Barcelona, man. Like I tend to pick the teams that just like when it seems like things are going well, we always come crashing down. And I think Lamine Yamal's kind of run his course. He's just a one-trick pony. Like I don't
Bro.
know, people have figured him out. And that's the thing. Like he was popping during the summer for Spain because everyone didn't really know. And then like early in the season he was popping, but then everybody realized like what he likes to do, what his tendencies are. And when you're that young and you still need growth, like when someone puts you at the top of the world at that age, it's like, all right, I don't
Exactly.
need to get better. I don't need to change. Like what I'm doing is working. And it's like, no, like if you look at the Ronaldos and the Messi's of the world, sure they were really good at that age, but no one was crowning them as the next one. Like you
Well,
still
they
had the
were. They just
Ronaldinhos.
had a way different mentality.
Yeah, it's also, yeah. I guess that's a bigger point. It's also just the difference between, the generations that are coming up. Like back then, you earned everything that you got. Now it's like, this guy's popping off, like just pump him out. Like this is what's selling. And, so that's just kind of like what happened to Lamine Yamal. Like he just blew up way faster than, maybe his skill. Like he's still a really, really good player. Don't, I'm not going to get that twisted, but I don't know. It just seems like Barcelona's kind of been figured out. Some of their older players or, some injuries and different things like that. Stupid high line kills us every freaking time. Like, I don't know,
Dude,
man.
that's what I was gonna
I don't
say is
know.
like if you go back to the highlights of the 4-0 against Atleti, like the announcers are just like flabbergasted that they kept playing the high line. Like they were down 3-0 and their center backs were still at half and they're just like I don't understand why they're not changing something. They were
Yeah.
just so
I mean,
dumbfounded.
I get living and dying by a tactic, but like when you're constantly dying, that's not living and dying. That is just like straight up, this is hurting us. We need to do something else. Like again, that's back to like Barcelona just being figured out. They figured out Le Mans, they figured out the high line, and it's like, all
Yeah.
right, it's time to change some things, but we're not. They're just stuck in our ways.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more about what you said about Yamal. It's really been since like that Portugal game really where he kind of got embarrassed, by the stuff he was saying before the game, and then obviously the game didn't go at all his way, kind of got pocketed by Mendes. Um, and really since then it's kind of been downhill. And like you said, I just all the stuff he does off the field, like as a 17, 18-year-old kid, like we were crowning him way too early, giving him undeserved Ballon d'Or PR hype. Even though there's a guy in his team doing way better than him, that it just all went to his head. And I think, it's something that I think a lot of us can probably relate to as if we were given all that at 17, 18. But like you said, like some guys get crowned early and they just way different mentality, like the Ronaldos and Messis of the world and Mbappe's. Like Mbappe won a World Cup at 18. Like you don't think he was getting
Yeah.
the spotlight Yamal's getting right now? And you know,
Hmm.
he found a way to dominate, not become a complete idiot like Yamal is. Like every time I look at Yamal, I feel like he's like everything wrong with like this new generation coming up. Like the hair, the jewelry, just the attitude, the entitlement. Like it's just miss me with that. But anyway, I'm glad Barcelona's doing bad. Madrid top of the table
Figured.
now.
I
Everything
figured.
to play for. But
Moving
moving on to the
on.
last Champions League game before we get out of here. Dortmund, Atalanta. Dortmund putting in a quietly very good season, sitting in second, obviously behind Bayern, but basically every game that they don't play Bayern in the league, they're winning. Obviously, they're in the knockouts of the Champions League here. Nice little 2-0 victory over a game that you'd probably expect them to win overall, just because they're always in the hunt here in the Champions League. But yeah, nice comfortable 2-0 against an Atalanta team that are always kind of frisky, always around. But Bayer and Gurasi with some very nice goals on the day. If you were able to look at the highlights in this one to get past Atalanta and take a 2-0 advantage into the second leg.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch anything from this game, but this is kind of like same old Dortmund. I always call them just like the mini Real Madrid when it comes to the Champions League, just so steady, so constant. Always find a way to win. Always seem to be in the mix near the end of the tournament. So, not surprised to see them get the win over at Atalanta in this game. Yeah, it's just strong and steady, 2-0.
Yeah.
And they're like, other than Galatasaray, they're like one of the it's the biggest margin of victory so far in the
Yeah, which is
first
crazy.
matches of the knockout stages. So kind of set up 2-0 advantage. They go to Italy though.
They go to Italy. Yep.
This was played at home, so I don't know. Maybe Atalanta can pull something out, but
Yeah.
Dortmund's just so solid in the Champions League. I don't see them doing much.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to the league portion of it, obviously everybody kind of is used to Bayern being such a wagon. They're only 5 points adrift off Bayern for that number one spot. Obviously, if I was a betting man, I'd bet Bayern all the way,
Nah,
but
for sure.
you know, they're not that far away. And if they're only 5 points off a Bayern squad who seem like they're winning 5-0 every time in the league, then they're doing something right with at least 5 victories in a row here in the league. So good season overall by Dortmund. Usually they're kind of last couple of years are squeaking into that Champions League spot on the last day or something. So good to
Right.
see them kind of back and humming. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely good to see them doing well as always. Obviously, we're both kind of partial to Dortmund because of
A little less now
Rice.
though without Royce.
Yeah,
So
without Royce being there, it's a little harder, but both little partial. Like see them do well, but yeah, Bayern's always a wagon. I mean, their striker trio, their attacking trio, dude, is like close to breaking records that like
disgusting.
Messi, Suarez, and Neymar friggin' set. Like when you're in that kind of company, dude, like I mean that's pretty good. Bayern just always like
They're fun to
it always
watch, dude.
surprised me how good Bayern was like playing in the Bundesliga and then transferring it over to the Champions League and still being like really, really good. Like, because sometimes you see, like with PSG for the
It's
longest
hard to
time,
do. Yeah.
yeah, like PSG for the longest time, like they would mow over the competition in their league and then get to the Champions League and like they would do well but never quite make it past the hump. And then obviously they did this past season, so things have been changing. But it always just impressed me with Bayern. But good to see Dortmund doing well, and maybe Barcelona can turn things around. But
Yeah.
but I think that's a pod, Sammy.
There's a pod.
We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, if you guys could like and subscribe on the video on YouTube, that would be awesome. Also, go to Spotify and Apple Podcast, rate us and follow us there. We would appreciate it. That would help us out a ton. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.